Welcome to another episode of the Cracked Open Podcast. This is your Born on a Monday series. I am your host, Goddess Telly.
And it's your boy, God's son, your neighborhood sport cube terrier. She got the perk, I got the perspective, just bringing a little perspective to the collective.
All right, and today is February the 18th, 2025. I know this is Tuesday, right? We were supposed to have an episode yesterday, but a lot transpired yesterday. You know, some power was out, people was moving around, so here we are today. Today we're going to be talking about, 3 or 4 legends? Their birthday fell yesterday? Was it 3 or is it 4?
Yeah. It's 3 legends whose birthday fell yesterday, and 1 person who was a legend in his own right who just so happened to have transitioned on February 17th.
All right, so what I'm going to do, and we are live on Bigo. Bigo ID is Goddess Telly _. I'm going to go over my 2, and then you're going to go over your 2. Okay, I'm not going to name your 2 yet. You can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with mine. My 2, we're going to be discussing Huey P. Newton and Jim Brown. All right, we're still talking about legacy, land, and legal currency, right? These are 3 pillars that can change the world if you know how to wield them. These 2 men understood this power, 2 men who refused to be silenced. 1 born on Monday, destined to lead. 1 born on Tuesday, born to fight, okay? So the first one that I'm going to be talking about is Huey P. Newton. All right, so today we dive deep into the lives of Huey P. Newton and Jim Brown, men who didn't just live history, they made history. This is not just a lesson in legacy. This is a blueprint for revolution. Now, to understand a man's legacy, you must first understand his beginnings, okay? So, origins of greatness. First, Huey P. Newton, born on Tuesday, February the 17th, 1942, in Monroe, Louisiana, under the cosmic influence of Mars. I guess it is good that we're doing this episode today in reference to Huey P. Newton. You understand? Now, again, born on Tuesday, February 17th, 1942, remembering Mars represents action, strength, and passion, known as the day of war. Tuesday shapes leaders and risk takers who thrive on challenges and strive for achievement. Now, Huey P. Newton was a child who faced illiteracy and poverty, but refused to let that define him. He self-educated himself to fight the very system that tried to keep him down. In Oakland, California, he co-founded the Black Panther Party, birthing a revolutionary movement for justice, education, and healthcare. His vision was clear: community control, self-defense, and Black power. Now, if that doesn't represent a Tuesday born, I don't know what does. Again, action, strength, and passion. Next, we have Jim Brown, born on a Monday, February 17th, 1936, in St. Simon's Island, Georgia, under the power of the moon, a leader and a pioneer. From segregated South to NFL greatness, Jim was unstoppable. But football was just the beginning. He used his platform to fight for civil rights and social justice, challenging systems that were never built for us. A born leader who didn't just play the game, but he changed the game. Now, who you got, Godson? Humble beginnings, they say.
Huh?
I say humble beginnings, they say.
Okay, then. Look, so when we talk about origins of greatness, you got to understand a man's legacy. You must first understand his beginnings. Now, the 2 individuals that I have, I'm going to be talking about Michael Jordan, whose birthday was February the 17th. He was born on a Sunday, though, okay? Sundays are ruled by the sun. That represents power, brilliance, and undeniable presence. It's no wonder Michael Jordan was born on a day meant for greatness, okay? From his earliest days in Brooklyn to his rise in North Carolina. Even though when we talk about him being from New York, it's a whole debate about who gets to claim Michael Jordan, okay? Yes, he was born in New York, but he was raised in North Carolina, all right? His journey, it was marked by an inner light that refused to be dim. Okay, Sundays are for those who are born to stand out. And Jordan did just that. Even as a child, his competitive spirit and relentless drive were evident. He battled all his siblings. He wanted all the smoke. from the time he came out, it looked like he wanted all the smoke, even in the NBA. All right, and even later on in his life, when he got into management and ownership. All right, so overcoming being cut from his high school team, he turned setbacks into fuel, igniting a fire that would burn through every court he stepped on. Guided by the son's influence, Jordan wasn't just playing basketball. He was rewriting the rules. They still got a commercial going on right now talking about his endorsement and the connection that he had with Nike and how they changed the rules of the game as far as having shoes that were, implemented in the game. They were so basic at the moment, just having white shoes. And Jordan came in there with the black and red playing for the Bulls, and they had to pay fines. A lot of fines for every game that he wanted to wear those shoes. And they paid him, and it paid off. All right? Showing the world that excellence isn't given, it is earned. Now, this next individual that we're going to be talking about, we don't know what day he was born on. We have no recollection of the day he was born, but he did transition on February the 17th. His name is Benjamin Pap Singleton. And to me, he had the soul of a Thursday born. Now, though history doesn't record his birthday, the essence of Benjamin Pap Singleton speaks of Thursday's influence. Thursdays are ruled by Jupiter, a planet of expansion, wisdom, and leadership, and Pap embodied these qualities, leading thousands to freedom and prosperity. Thursdays are for the visionary, okay? The teacher, the traveler, and Pap was all of these. Born into slavery, his mind was never shackled. He saw possibilities beyond oppression. Like Jupiter's expansive energy, Pap moved boldly, organizing communities and helping to create Nicodemus, Kansas, a sanctuary of independence. Now, Jupiter blesses those who think big. And Pap's dream wasn't just for himself, but for generations. He paved the way for economic freedom, land ownership, and self-determination. So, Michael Jordan, born on a Sunday, shined with brilliance and commanded attention wherever he went. Pap Singleton, with the spirit of Thursday, expanded possibilities and led his people to new horizons. 2 men, 2 legacies, both masters of land, legacy, and currency. Their stories remind us that greatness isn't just achieved, it's destined.
For sure. Now, let's talk about how land is power and power is freedom. Now, Huey P. Newton understood that control over land meant control over resources. The free breakfast program wasn't just about feeding children, it was about reclaiming power over community well-being, challenging the narrative, food as a weapon of liberation. The Panthers established health clinics and educational programs, creating safe havens in oppressed neighborhoods. Jim Brown, economic independence was his weapon, founded the American Foundation, helping gang members and at-risk youth rewrite their stories. He taught financial literacy, self-sufficiency, and entrepreneurship, reclaiming economic power. His legacy wasn't just about breaking records on the field, it was about breaking generational curses off the field. And we're not talking about practice, we are talking about the actual game.
Yeah. Now Jordan used to get into it with his teammates at practice. Okay, if they weren't going hard and giving the same amount of effort that he was, it was an issue. Okay, so from dominating the hardwood to mastering the business world, Michael Jordan understood the value of territory both on and off the court. Jordan didn't just play; he owned the space. His ability to control the game was a metaphor for his approach to life, commanding respect and taking charge of his destiny. Beyond basketball, Jordan ventured into real estate, acquiring mansions and investing in properties. Man, he got a mansion right now that is being rented. He sold it. It's being rented. Well, the estimated rent. It's like $230,000 a month. That is extremely ridiculous. But hey, it is what it is. Okay. And invested in properties. He didn't just buy land. He built legacies. Okay. Like kings marking their dominion, Jordan's brand became synonymous with power, influence, and culture, and cementing his place as not just an athlete, but an empire builder. It's at least one person in your family got a pair of Jordans or owned a pair of Jordans in their lifetime, or they want a pair of Jordans. That is how much power this man has yielded in this particular arena. Okay. Now, for Pap Singleton, land wasn't just property. It was liberation. He knew that to own land was to own freedom. Pap led the Exoduster movement. Okay, that's guiding former slaves to Kansas and the Midwest, where land ownership meant independence and security. Now, this all stemmed from something that Abraham Lincoln did, who is one of the individuals who Black History Week, that turned into Black History Month, was centered around. Okay, now he created Pap Singleton. He created a community where Black families could thrive, free from oppression. And not all the way free from oppression, but they tried to get as free from oppression as possible, and we still had oppressors that was trying to get at us regardless. Okay, now, in Nicodemus, land was power, and power was freedom. By encouraging Black land ownership, Pap ensured generational wealth and self-determination, a legacy that still echoes today. Michael Jordan dominated the spaces he entered, from the court to the boardroom, and Pap Singleton transformed land into a symbol of liberation and hope. Both men understood that true power isn't given, it's claimed. And through land, they secured their legacies, reminding us that freedom starts with owning your space. Shout out to Wood Grain, okay? When our oppressors don't give respect, action is necessary.
For real. Like, now, what is power without the currency to back it? Huey P. Newton used legal knowledge as a weapon. The Black Panthers knew the law better than the police who tried to break them. Huey's arrests and trials were televised resistance, turning courtrooms into classrooms for revolution. Now, when you understand the law, you control the narrative. Huey P. Newton didn't just fight against oppression, he fought within the very system designed to oppress. Again, Wood Grain. When our oppressors don't give respect, action is necessary. Merch coming soon, you understand? He understood that knowledge of the law was one of the most powerful weapons in the fight for justice. Huey was functionally illiterate when he graduated high school, but he refused to let ignorance be his crutch. He taught himself to read using Plato's Republic and dive deep into law books, realizing that understanding the legal system was the key to challenging it. The Republic is a dialogue by Plato that explores justice, the ideal city, and the importance of being just. It's considered one of the most influential works of philosophy and political theory. He then enrolled in Marriott College and later at San Francisco Law School. Newton's legal knowledge became the backbone of the Black Panthers parties for strategies. Newton and the Panthers carried law books along with their firearms during political patrols. In California, it was legal to openly carry loaded firearms as long as they weren't being pointed at anyone. The Panthers used this law to monitor police interactions, protecting Black community from brutality while reciting citizens' rights out loud. They knew the law better than the officers who tried to silence them. This knowledge prevented unlawful arrests and exposed the system's hypocrisy. In 1967, Huey was arrested and charged with the murder of Officer John Frey. The trial became a national sensation, with the slogan "Free Huey" echoing across the country. But he didn't just defend himself. He used the trial as a platform to expose systematic racism. He turned his defense into a political statement, educating the public on racial injustice, police brutality, and the need for Black liberation. Televised resistance. The media coverage transformed his courtroom battles into lessons of activism and resistance. Newton's trials wasn't just legal battles. They were acts of revolution, forcing America to confront its own contradictions. The Panthers filed a lawsuit against police departments, forcing accountability and policy changes. They educated communities on their constitutional rights, empowering people to defend themselves legally. By mastering the legal system, Huey Newton showed that justice wasn't just about breaking chains, it was about rewriting laws. Now, controlling the narrative, the mainstream media painted the Black Panthers as violent radicals, a threat to American society. But Huey was strategic. He knew that whoever controlled the narrative controlled the power. By creating the Black Panthers newspaper, he countered misinformation with truth, sharing stories of police brutality, community programs, and the real mission of the Black Panthers: liberation and justice. At the height, the paper had a circulation of over 250,000, reaching international audiences.
Okay then. Yeah. Now look, Michael Jordan, from slam dunks to billionaire moves, Michael Jordan understood that true power isn't just about fame, it's about financial control. Jordan revolutionized athlete endorsements, turning his Nike deal into a billion-dollar brand. Air Jordan wasn't just a shoe, it was a financial dynasty. Unlike other athletes tied to temporary deals, Jordan demanded equity and royalties, ensuring continuous income long after his playing days. All right? Now, from the Charlotte Hornets to luxury real estate and Sincoro tequila, Jordan's portfolio was built to last. He mastered the art of making money work for him. Pap Singleton, he knew that for his people, economic freedom was the key to true independence. He used land as the currency to empower his community. Pap's Edgefield Real Estate and Homestead Association was designed to pool resources. All right, giving formerly enslaved people the buying power they needed. In Nicodemus, Kansas, Pap established a community with black-owned businesses and farms, creating a self-sustaining economy. By promoting land ownership, Pap liberated his people from the economic grip of former slaveholders, allowing them to generate their own wealth. Michael Jordan, he leveraged his brand to create financial empires that transcended sports, and Pap Singleton used land as legal currency to establish economic independence for his people. Now, both men understood that wealth isn't just about money. It's about ownership, influence, and legacy. They turned legal currency into generational power moves, proving that true freedom is backed by financial might.
Yes, and Jim Brown wasn't just a football legend. He was a revolutionary who understood the true power of influence. He knew that celebrity wasn't just about popularity. It was about leverage. Brown transformed his fame into social currency, using his name, his image, and his network to bridge divides, shift narratives, and change laws. Now, he was a mediator, a negotiator, and the bridge. That really sounds like the plug to the plug to the plug. Now, Jim Brown sitting at every table. Jim Brown was fearless when it came to crossing boundaries. He sat down with politicians, gang leaders, activists, and athletes, understanding that real change required real conversations. He didn't just align with one group. He connected with all sides to negotiate peace and progress. Now, that's the plug to the plug. You understand? Now, in the 1980s, he founded the AmeriCan program, focusing on gang intervention and personal development. He walked into gang territories where no politicians would ever go or even feel welcome, convincing rival leaders to call truces and reduce violence. Brown wasn't just a mediator, he was a peacemaker, using his influence to save lives, real Monday-born energy. Now, his status allowed him access to lawmakers, giving him a voice in shaping social policy. Brown used his influence to advocate for criminal justice reform and economic empowerment for black communities. He spoke the language of the oppressed and the powerful, bridging the gap between the streets and Capitol Hill. Brown understood that power wasn't just about wealth, it wasn't just about politics, it was about connecting people who never thought they could stand together. Now, Jim Brown recognized the power of his name and his image. In the 1960s, he was more than just an athlete. He was a symbol of black excellence. As an NFL superstar, Jim Brown understood that celebrity is currency. He used his fame to command attention for the civil rights movement, bridging the gap between sports and social justice. When Muhammad Ali refused to fight in the Vietnam War, risking his career and his freedom, Jim Brown organized the Cleveland Summit, bringing together the most prominent black athletes to support Ali. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a moment of solidarity, showing the world that black athletes weren't just entertainers, they were influencers, thinkers, and leaders. Brown understood that public figures shape public opinion, and he used his platform to redefine black identity and challenge racial stereotypes. In 1967, he organized the Cleveland Summit, again gathering top black athletes to support Muhammad Ali. Again, it wasn't just about Ali, it was about using influence to challenge injustice. After retiring from football at his peak, Brown pursued acting not just to entertain, but to change the narrative. He refused to take on roles that demeaned black people, insisting on characters with dignity and strength. In 1969, he starred in 100 Rifles, making history with one of the first interracial love scenes in a major film. This wasn't just cinema, it was a cultural revolution. Brown shattered taboos and challenged America's racial boundaries on screen. He showed that representation is power. When people see themselves as heroes, they believe they can be heroes. So from athlete to mogul, Brown wasn't just playing the game, he was rewriting the rules. He understood that financial freedom was the key to liberation. If black communities could control their wealth, they could control their future. Unlike many athletes who only endorse products, Brown became the owner and the investor, empowering black entrepreneurs and creating jobs. He used his Hollywood earnings to fund business ventures, ensuring his influence went beyond the field and the screen. Jim Brown built an empire that wasn't just about profit, it was about power, and it was about legacy. He knew that true wealth wasn't just about money, it was about ownership, influence, and control over the narrative. Jim Brown mastered the art of social currency. He understood that influence was more powerful than money and politics. He leveraged his celebrity to challenge systems, shift narratives, and build pathways for black ownership and leadership. He showed the world that power isn't just about who you are, it's about what you do with it. Jim Brown didn't play the game, he changed it. He wasn't just a star, he was a strategist, a Monday-born strategist at that. His currency wasn't just his fame, it was his influence. Now, born on a Monday, born on a Tuesday, destined to change the world. Jim Brown, the initiator, Monday's child, a pioneer, a leader, a force of nature. We have Huey P. Newton, a fighter, Tuesday's child, a warrior, a strategist, and a visionary. Together, they showed us what it means to stand in power. They didn't just resist oppression, they redefined it. Their friendship was built on mutual respect and a shared mission to liberate the oppressed and empower the voiceless. Symbolism as influence. The image of black men and women standing tall with berets and leather jackets weren't just about style, it was about power. Huey understood the power of imagery, using the Panthers' appearance to challenge stereotypes of black what's that word? Inferiority. The visuals of armed Panthers legally defending their communities redefined black identities in America. They were no longer victims, they were protectors, turning trials into tribunes of truth. Huey's arrest and televised trials weren't just legal battles, they were public spectacles. He used the courtroom as a stage, turning himself from a defendant into a system of resistance. Free Huey became a national movement, gaining support across racial and geographical lines. He understood that the fight wasn't just in the courtroom, it was in the hearts and in the minds of the people that was watching. Public support shielded the Panthers from political assassination, both literally and metaphorically. When the FBI labeled the Panthers the greatest threat to national security, public opinion countered their narrative, forcing the government to reconsider its tactics. Newton showed that perception is protection. If the people believed in your cause, you became untouchable. Now, Brown founded the Negro Industrial Economic Union to support black entrepreneurship, creating pathways to financial independence. He knew that economic power equals political power. If black communities could control their own wealth, they could control their own destiny. His vision was clear. Ownership is the ultimate power. Jim Brown shattered stereotypes of black masculinity, showing strength through intelligence and leadership. He redefined what it meant to be a black man in America, not just an athlete, but a mogul, an activist, and a leader. His presence demanded respect, forcing the world to see black men as thinkers, strategists, and kings. Both Huey and Jim understood that the law is written by those in power, but power is defined by influence. They mastered the art of legal currency, using knowledge, public perception, and influence to reshape society structures. They didn't just fight for justice, they changed how justice was seen. The real revolution is in the mind. When you change how people see the world, you change the world itself.
All right, boom. Hey, so look, let's talk about Benjamin Pap Singleton in a little bit more detail, okay? Now, Benjamin Pap Singleton, he escaped from slavery from Tennessee, migrated from the South to Kansas, and we was around Oklahoma and Colorado. Now, they ran a boarding house. He ran a boarding house in Detroit during the Civil War. He was considered the Black Moses of his day. Created the Edgefield Real Estate and Homestead Association in, what is happening? Created, he ran a boarding house in Detroit. Created the Edgefield Real Estate and Homestead Association in Nashville. He helped to establish Nicodemus, Kansas in 1877, which is still around today. Encouraged about 20,000 African Americans to migrate over the course of 2 years. The Exodusters, that's what they was called, began assisting people on this journey around 1873, with about 300 people settling in Cherokee County, Kansas, which became known as Singleton's County. Now, this all came from the Homestead Act of 1862. In that act, they provided 160 acres of federal land to anyone who agreed to farm it. This act was created under the guise of President Lincoln. Now, Kansas played a major role in the Underground Railroad, and they nicknamed it Bleeding Kansas. On February 17, 1879, Senator Wyndham, who I think was from Minnesota, brought a petition from the Negro Union Cooperative Aid Association and the freedmen of Shreveport, Louisiana, to the Senate floor. Now, this stated, "We are a poor, friendless, dependent, defenseless, landless, ignorant class in a state of modern feudalism, freed by a generous government, but left to the will of the former slaveholders, a landed aristocracy, and placed at their feet bound hand and foot." The United States bought the land and territory called Kansas as part of the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, but it was the Missouri Compromise how Kansas became the state where African Americans would be free. Now, Pap transitioned on 2/17/1900 at the age of 90 in Kansas City, Missouri. We truly appreciate what you meant to us as a people and real estate, land ownership, and those things. Michael Jordan was born on a Sunday, February 17, 1963. Now, that's a day ruled by the sun. Represents leadership, power, identity, and influence. Although Sunday is associated with spiritual illumination and personal radiance rather than material wealth, Jordan has uniquely harnessed the power of land, legacy, and currency, transforming himself from an elite athlete into a global empire. In astrology and esoteric traditions, being born on a Sunday suggests the destiny of prominence. People born under the sun's influence are often called to shine brightly, lead by example, and leave a lasting impact. The sun governs self-expression, willpower, and purpose, which aligns with Jordan's relentless drive, competitive spirit, and brand dominance. The sun amplifies personal magnetism, which is evident in Jordan's ability to command respect both on and off the court. His ability to take over games and clutch moments reflected his sun-born nature to lead and be the center of attention. Sunday-born individuals are often remembered beyond their time, and Jordan has immortalized himself through sports, business, and cultural influence. One of the most overlooked aspects of Michael Jordan's empire is his strategic investment in real estate and ownership of sports franchises. He understood that true power isn't just about earning money, it's about owning assets that appreciate and give control over space and opportunity. Now, the Charlotte Hornets ownership that he had from 2010 to 2023, he became the first former player to own a majority stake in an NBA team, acquiring the Hornets, then Bobcats, for $275 million. By the time he sold his stake in 2023, the team was valued at $3 billion. A masterful play in land and legacy. And it just so happens to be that the number one player on that team was our Mr. Born on a Wednesday, LaMelo Ball, that we have spoken about, who is the youngest son of LeVar Ball, Mr. Born on a Monday, Mr. Antagonistic himself, Mr. I know my sons was going to be great, and that's what they are. We feel it. All right, real estate investments. Jordan owns multiple luxury properties, including a $29 million mansion in Chicago, $12.4 million estate in Florida, and real estate holdings that position him as a long-term investor. He built his own ultra-exclusive golf course, the Grove 23, ensuring he controlled the land where he and his elite could convene privately. Now, this power isn't in temporary contracts or fleeting fame. It's in owning the playing field and not just playing it. Michael Jordan did not just play basketball. He became a symbol of excellence, crafting a legacy that transcends sports. His legacy is defined by cultural impact, brand dominance, and long-term wealth building. The Jordan brand, started in '84 under Nike, generates over $5 billion annually, with Jordan himself earning roughly like $260 million a year from just royalties. His 1984 contract was just the spark. The brand became a movement, merging sports, hip-hop, and streetwear culture. His 6 NBA championships with the Chicago Bulls from 91 to 94, and then again from 96 to 98, all right, paired with his killer instinct, clutch performances, and relentless work ethic, built the mythology around his name, one that influenced generations and continues to this day. Beyond sports, Jordan's impact in music, film, Space Jam, and fashion has solidified his legendary status in multiple industries. It's not just about winning in the moment, it's about building a story that lives beyond your playing days. Unlike many athletes who struggle post-retirement, Jordan mastered the art of financial control and wealth expansion. He leveraged his influence to build a billion-dollar empire. He became the first athlete in history to be worth over $1 billion, proving that success in sports can evolve into economic power. Selling his majority stake in the Hornets for $3 billion in 2023 further solidified his financial empire. Now, unlike typical athletes who just accept endorsement deals, Jordan structured long-term deals with brands like Gatorade, Hanes, and Nike to ensure equity and royalties, not just quick cash. His portfolio includes restaurants, we talked about the liquor brand, and esports investments, ensuring he isn't dependent on one single revenue stream. The lesson: control your revenue streams, demand ownership, and think beyond the game. Now, all of us can't be 6'6" and play basketball and go down here and go ham on the court, all right? But you can do what you can do with what you have available to you, okay? Although born on a Sunday, a day traditionally, again, linked to spiritual illumination and self-expression, Michael Jordan has harnessed the power of the material world like a master strategist. His son, given leadership and influence, allowed him to dominate not just the NBA, but also real estate, branding, and financial power. And this man would bet on anything. He wanted all the smoke with everybody. Yep, you want to bet? Let's do it. That was one of his things, man. He was up for any challenge. Not one challenge that he backed down from. That's so, oh my goodness, that's so Leo type energy. That's big Leo energy, big fire energy, big Sunday egoic solar plexus energy. All right. Now, key takeaways from Jordan's journey: don't just participate. Own the space where the game is played. Don't just be a participant. Be an owner. Be an owner of the space where you're at, okay? Create a name that lives beyond your physical presence, all right? He went from not just Michael Jeffrey Jordan to Air Jordan, the brand, Air Jordan, okay? Wealth is not just about making money. It's about controlling money and making it work for you. Jordan redefined what it means to be an athlete, proving that true power is in ownership, influence, and long-term vision. He shines not just because of his talent, but because he understood how to transform that talent into empire-building energy. That only knock people really have on Jordan is he was so dope that I think the only person who really tapped into his out of his kids that really tapped in to what he was building is his daughter Jazz. I want to say her name is Jasmine. The boys, I don't know if they were able to stand up to the influence that his father had, that their father had. It's interesting because LeVar Ball brought that up, and he was talking about how some of the greatest that have ever done it didn't have sons that came after them in that same arena, in the NBA arena, and produced the same way. As opposed to him, he wasn't anybody that you focused on with basketball, and he created one son that won a Rookie of the Year, another one who is probably just going to be a journeyman, and one who just, I don't know if he'll ever get into the league consistently, but it is what it is, okay? But Michael Jordan didn't just play the game. He changed the rules.
Now, their fight is not over. Their legacy is just beginning. Now, what does it mean to own your power in today's world? Question, pick it up. How do we reclaim our land, our wealth, and our narratives? Question, pick it up. It starts with understanding where we come from and where we're going. We are the heirs of their legacy. We are the ones they fought for. We are the change they envision. So reflect on your own legacy. What are you building that will outlive you? How are you reclaiming your power and influence in the world? Join the conversation on our socials. Be sure to share your thoughts, share your stories, share your visions for the future. Be sure to follow us on IG, Monday Born Mentality. Be sure to follow the podcast. We are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Huey P. Newton and Jim Brown, they showed us what it means to be fearless. They showed us what it means to own our power. They showed us that legacy is built by those bold enough to claim it. The question is, will you?
You already know it. You already know it. So again, like we say, it's always going to be meditation before medication. You are flesh. You are spirit. You are creation. What is for you will be. Okay, will be approved and improved. And what's not for you will be removed and released. You just got to show up.
Sometimes you got to show up. Sorry.
That's it. That's half the battle. Now, again, one last time. Yes, there were circumstances beyond our control. It's always crazy. When you're on the precipice of greatness, there were always outside influences to try and come in and deter you from the mission, from the goal. But we will continue to show up for y'all every week. Whether we show up for y'all and drop our episodes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. We are going to continue to show up. Why? Because we are here for the collective.
Okay? We were born on a Monday. We can't not show up. Duh.
You know it. And we go through so many different cycles and phases because, hey, we're governed by the moon. Okay? She got the perp. I got the perspective. I got the D. She got debate. Okay? Ooh. So we're going to bring perspective and debates that you can relate to for the collective. Rock with us. Tap in.
Lean with it.
All right, so don't forget to pick up your copy of our ebook. All right, the MBM ebook, Monday Born Mentality. Harness the power of your birthday for success. Not the birth date, your birthday for success. All right, you can go to our IG, Monday Born Mentality. click the link in the description. It will take you to our link tree, and you will be able to grab your copy now. It's $11.11, and we got something in there that's going to benefit everybody from every day of the week. Just because we are two Monday borns that have connected to create it doesn't mean that we've isolated ourselves from connecting with every other day of the week. So again, Monday born mentality. Harness the power of your birthday for success. Subscribe to the tribe. We here, baby.
Hold, please.